to the Enough Said podcast. We are in season 3, episode number 10. We are so glad to be back for another year. Happy New Year, everybody. 2023. What's up, guys? Happy New Year.
Yo, what's
Yeah, Happy New
up?
Year. Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
Happy
All
New
right,
Year.
we are all back and ready to go. Again, we appreciate all our listeners and subscribers. So the Enough Said podcast, as you are well aware, is on YouTube, all the major channels, Spotify, iTunes. Feel free to check us out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find out when we're on the air and check us out. We're actually going to be doing some live streams coming up, so keep your eye out for that as well. All right, with that being said, we'll bring in the normal cast of characters here. We got a lot to talk about with the playoffs coming up this week. So let's get right into it here. So this first guy, I like this one. When it comes to his football knowledge, he's no slouch. Evel Knievel's most dangerous jump was over his mouth. Say hi to Jermaine, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
What's up,
What's up, Jermaine?
Yo,
What's
it's
up?
8 o'clock. It's 8:30 in our area. Look, I'm trying to wake up, all right? So you guys got to give me a minute.
Happy
You know
New
what I mean?
Happy New
Yeah.
Year. Come on, man.
Yeah, give me a minute. I got to wake up.
I was trying to get a little excitement here in the room, and everybody's like, "Yeah,
I know it,
Yeah,
yeah.
Happy New Year.
As the show goes on, yeah, it'll get vibrant.
But Jermaine's like, well, it's 8 o'clock here. What's in where I'm at?
Oh, I don't. Yeah. Well, people could be listening from Alaska. I don't know, Canada. Just saying.
Man.
Just giving a shout out to everybody who wants to listen.
All right, you got it. All right, this next guy. The 49ers gave up 500 yards on D and looked like a bunch of beginners. This guy doesn't tolerate that. He only likes and wants winners. Say hi to Mike, everybody. What's going
What's
on?
up, Mike?
Hey,
What up,
what's
Mike?
going on?
What's
A little
up?
rough time on
They needed a game like that, so I'm all right.
All right.
Little rough time on defense, 500 yards, but Bosa bailed him
Yep.
out like usual. It's all right, you know.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, he called me during the Eagles game and was on a tear. After that loss, more and more yellow soul glow showed up in his hair. Say hi to Trey, everybody.
Yo, what up? What up, everybody? What's going on? Yeah, it's too early in the morning to put the soul glow in, so
Yeah.
Hey, you were pretty fired up there. I saw
Yes.
the text messages. He was cussing and
I
everything. He was
was
just like,
I was mad, and we're gonna talk about that. I told you. Yeah. All right.
I knew it was coming. I mean, I haven't seen you that fired up in a while. I was like, wow. He called me, and I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
Yeah, this dude was on a roll. So, but and I know Jermaine's coming at me hard. He's got an issue with me this week. So
Yeah, that's what's going to wake me up, sir. So, yeah, I'm coming at you.
I mean, however we do this, man. I mean, we could talk about that sorry ass Saint last week game with Minshew. It's the play calling, man. And I told you guys, man. I don't like, and I'm gonna say it right here to all our listeners. I don't like Nick Sirianni's coaching. It's his play calling. I told y'all that from the beginning. He don't run the ball. Well, he runs the ball with Jalen Hurts, and look what now he's injured. He's hurt. So
Yeah, a lot has changed. Just to make it clear, Dre, it's not Nick, because Nick gave up the play calling. So it's actually Shane Steichen. So when Shane Steichen took over last year, basically, you could see the difference as far as him running the ball and stuff like that. Even in the beginning of the season, he was running the ball and stuff. So, and Dre, me and you talk. I mean, this young coaching core is very young, so they're very, we're better than the old heads that's out here and all that stuff, and we're going to show them what we're going to do. But you're right, that play calling is a concern when you got a 1,000-yard rusher. What we was talking about last night, when you got a 1,000-yard rusher, and then you got two complimentary backs in Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell. So. And then I don't understand, why did you, what we said last night, why did you sign Trey Sermon? Why? I mean, Trey Sermon is one of those guys that, kind of remind you like somewhat of a Jordan Howard. Mm-hmm. And I guess he's on a practice squad. I mean, like I said, I don't understand.
Well,
I don't understand. So,
well, remember, I hear what you're saying about the play calling is the other coach, but Nick is the project manager. He is the head coach, so he's responsible for this. So
you're right. Yeah, you're right. But then it goes back to them being young. All of them are young. Even Jonathan Gannon with his dumbass defense and all that stuff, that soft zones and all that stuff. I mean, they're all young. They think they can just say, yeah, well, we coming in here and we're gonna shake up the league, with what we do because we know better. Oh, well, you know what? You said it, Dre. It could be a one and done real quick if you don't get your act together and get some adjustments. Bottom line.
Yeah, and honestly, to me, it was we should have won the Dallas game when Hurts was playing, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah. Well, 3rd and 30. That's all I can say. You know what I mean? 3rd and 30. Well, that was ridiculous.
Thank you, Gannon.
Yeah. Well, and my thing is, I think you're starting to see some of the holes that the Eagles have. Like, you look at the cornerback play the first 7 weeks. Bradbury and Slay, their average passer rating against them was like 35, 37. Now, Slay's like over 100. Bradbury's like 85. They're completing passes in the zone 77% of the time against the Eagles defense. There's holes there. I mean, I know they're going to get the safety back today, but he's not going to solve everything because he's going to have to play the corner because Maddox is out. So he's going to have to play the slot. They're not going to get him at safety. So, and Charter Gonson hasn't played. Let's not forget. And he's not going to come out and just be an all-pro all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. So, and there's holes. They're still not running the ball. I think Miles Sanders, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because it's a contract year or whatever, he's due next year if they're going to sign him or not. And my biggest issue is Howie. Howie, Jermaine and I are going to get into it, all right? Howie signed these guys. He knew what was coming on. These teams plan way in advance. Howie knew last year wasn't a great year, and he had to do something. So he signed a lot of players to one-year contracts to try to save his ass, and that's what he did. And these players now are starting to get hurt. They're starting to get holes. And next year he's got half the team hurt. I would say 9 out of the 12 Eagles starters are not even signed or coming back. So, all right, great. So he put all his eggs in one basket. Let's see if he wins. If he doesn't, he's going to have a rough year next year because he can't sign Hurts and all these other guys. It's not going to happen. He can't sign Hurts, Sanders, and all these other guys on defense. It's not going to work. So, come on, Jermaine.
Sal, it's not Howie. Sal, it's not. Okay, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Yes, everything that you said is absolutely right. Okay. He put all his eggs in the basket, but you know what? Going forward, we still in a good shape with draft picks. You know what I mean? You got 2 first-round draft picks. Granted, it's not going to be in the top 5 because you lost to the Saints and stuff. So you're not, I feel as though you're in a good position somewhat. No, I'm going to say you are in a good position because I'm going to believe in Howie. Howie is a smart guy. He always had us under the cap. You know what I mean? Granted, the draft messed him up and, this, that, and the other and stuff. Yeah, I get that. But this year, you see what he did. He drafted Jordan Davis. He drafted a backup. He drafted that center, you know what I mean, that's going to replace Kelsey. Look, like I said last year when I said, look, give Howie a chance and you see what he did. I'm on the Howie train. It's not Howie's fault. You put the product on the field. Okay, it's not Howie's fault when the coaches and everything are not putting him in the right position. I'm sorry, you know what I mean. And then injuries plays a factor too. Yeah, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. When C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Sal, went down, that's when the corner play. That's when the corner play actually went down. It started to decline and everything. So you got to see that C.J. Gardner-Johnson is an impact in that backfield as far as the safety. Yeah, now all of a sudden Avonte Maddox is not in. Yeah, I mean, I get it. He's probably going to have to play the slot or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but the simple fact, it's not Howie's fault. I mean, you got a good product out there. Yes. And you can't help him, but yeah, injuries and all that stuff. Yeah, I get it, but it's the play calling. What Dre was saying, it's the play calling. You're not putting these people in good position. The product is there. You got the players there. You're not putting them in good position. Far as next year, Sal, I believe in Howie. Howie's going to get it done. Yeah, not everybody's coming back. Fletcher Cox is not coming back. That's why you put him on a 1-year deal. Fletcher Cox is not coming back. Bradbury may not come back. You know what I'm saying? So that's when
Gardner
you
Johnson.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you say?
Gardner Johnson's not coming back.
I don't know. But that's what I said. It's a
Bradbury.
wait and see. It's a wait and
Yeah.
see. I feel comfortable. I feel pretty good about going to the season. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and Howie knows it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. But I believe in him. What he did this year, putting the product on the field and everything, it's not his fault. You can't stop. You got to stop blaming Howie. You got to stop blaming Howie. You can't. You can't do that. So you saying you saying 200% is Howie's fault. That's what you're saying. You're saying it's
I'm
Howie's
not saying
fault.
it's all Howie.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, you need to clarify that.
Wait a minute.
Because a lot of it's got to be coaches. What?
We moved up to 200% now.
Yeah, because there's no such thing as 100%.
Oh, there's no such thing. Oh, so now it's 200%. Oh, okay.
Mike, talk to us. Two different philosophies here, Mike. You got the 49ers who traded all their draft picks, and then you got the Eagles who have draft picks. So what is it? Is it coaching? Is it, the GM? What's going on compared to San Francisco? Because it's obviously two different philosophies here.
I think it's a little mix of both, honestly. I think the Eagles are in good shape. Look, yeah, they got a lot of draft picks for next year. I think it's still about how you build your team and your core pieces. San Francisco still has those core pieces. It's usually quarterback, your defense. The Nick Bosa is a core piece. Fred Warner is a core piece. And then your O-line, like Trent Williams. You have these cornerstone players that you try to build around, so they're the ones that get money, and then everything else really does come down to coaching, and you're gonna have a lot of turnover. I mean, it's a problem for every team in the league. The Eagles, they won 12 games, almost in a row. They lost the Washington game, but honestly, that was kind of fluky. But you don't win that many games and not have a good thing going. And I don't feel like they're like in the position like the Rams were, where they really did mortgage the future. I think I think Howie did fine. With the play calling, you're right. Steichen is a concern, especially with not running the ball in the playoffs. Is where you're going to really see whether that's going to be a problem or not. That's probably going to make it the biggest difference for that team overall in terms of whether this year's success is going to be how they do in the playoffs, because they won so many games and Hurts looking really good and stuff like that. But it's going to be a challenge. No team is really that much better than the next team. San Francisco had the best defense, and they gave up 500 yards passing, like you were saying, to the Raiders. And it's like, what happened? It just no one's dominant every single game like back in the day. It's just how it is.
Yeah, it's been a pattern though with the Eagles lately, especially on defense, and the run play calling, but it's also been a pattern with the GN too. You go back, you drafted Carson Wentz number 2 overall. You skip over Justin Jefferson. You can go down the list, right?
Okay.
With Howie.
All right. Let's move on, Sal. You keep going back to Carson Wentz. We get it. Carson Wentz, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf. We get it. But right now, we're in the here now. We can talk about that all the time, what Howie has done. What has Howie done now within the last year?
We'll find out.
Like I said, and next year. So, yes, we know, and I'm on board with you, Sal, that he screwed up. There's a lot of things he screwed up. But then I remember what Mike was saying. All GMs are not perfect because, yes, we focus on our team, but then there's a lot of other teams that screwed up as well. You know what I mean? We're not the only ones that that has been screwed up. You know what I mean? Yes, and because we're Eagles fans. Half of us is, majority of us is Eagles fans. So, I'm looking at the now. All right, let's move on, with this. You know what I mean? With that DK Metcalf and, all that Jalen Reagor and all that stuff. What is he doing now, and what is he going to do forward? Yes, is he going to regress? I don't think so. You think so. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to regress. This is going to be a challenging offseason, for Howie. As far as getting players, and half of those players might come back. Half of those players might not come back. So then some things that he may have to restructure contracts and all that stuff to make everything fit and stuff. So Howie.
Saying,
Go
I
ahead.
understand that I'm a realist, right? And you know
Right.
me with Eagles fans, right? We got our heart taken out with the Phillies this year again.
Right.
Every year I do this with Howie. We have a great team. The Eagles are going to the Super Bowl, and then it's like Lucy with the football. I told Dre last week how many times we got to go through this with them. It's every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
is
this.
Jalen Hurts going to play in Pro Bowl form like this every year? Probably not. I think he's going to be a good quarterback. You can't expect that he's going to play at this level every single year again. So there's going to be some more losses in there. Maybe not like, they're not going to be 9-7. They might be 12-4, whatever. But
Right.
who knows? I mean, you don't know what he's going to come back after his shoulder injury either. So,
Yeah. Well, it starts today. You don't know what the hell's going to
Yeah.
happen. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm 100% fine telling everybody
Yeah.
because he wants to get out there and play.
Yeah.
So, all I want to see is I don't want to see no 17 damn, 18 rushing attempts because Dre pulled it up between Lamar Jackson
Yes.
and
Jalen
Hurts. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculous as far as the rush attempts. Jalen's got more rush attempts than Lamar Jackson. It's just, I think it was 160 to 112?
Yeah, 112 was Lamar Jackson and 154 was Jalen Hurts. And
Jalen though, or is it Strickland?
no, and here's the
Jalen running it?
So here's the thing though. They both ran the same amount of yards, 740 something yards. And they both banged up.
I mean, the rushing attempt. I mean, you averaging what? It's just crazy. I mean, how you just running this man in the hole. Now, if that's your, then that you want to talk about a weakness, Sal. If you're running Jalen Hurts 17, 18 times, well, there's your weakness. I mean, then there's something underlining as far as what's happening in that backfield or whatnot. Like, do you trust Miles Sanders? Do you trust him? You know what I mean? So, that might be the weakness, because they's like, well, Jalen's our only saving grace as far as running the ball and all that stuff. 17, 18 times? When is the last time that happened? In any team.
It's like Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers, right, Mike?
Yeah,
but he's a running back though. So
he's
a
running back.
The thing with Hurts, and I know I mentioned it to you guys in the text, and is it him? Is it that maybe there's still something in his development as a quarterback that hasn't hit yet? So they keep calling these running plays, almost a little bit like Lamar to some degree, where they called a bunch of running plays because he really wasn't a strong passer yet. And so, even though Hurts has thrown some really great passes and, look fine to me, maybe there's still some things in that offense that he's not there yet. So that's why they keep calling these design run plays for him. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't care how strong the guy is. You can't keep running him up the middle and taking all these kind of tough hits from linemen and whatnot, linebackers. I mean, I know he can take on safeties and cornerbacks probably, but, that's not the position, I look at him and I kind of think about Russell Wilson, where he would run, but he would run to get the first down and then figure out a way to protect himself so he could keep playing and not take on, someone like Josh Allen will try to take on somebody. He'll sit there and try to lower his shoulder, and he's going to get hurt at one point too. But the goal is to still be in the game and to use your running ability to extend the play so you can get the ball to someone who can make a play for you or to get a first down. That's really what these guys need to focus on, not trying to, actually score and actually try to pretend like they're running backs because they're going to get lit up. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, and it was funny, though, when Jermaine said the coaching staff are all young. Well, I guess they're taking the 600 leg press too literally. I mean, come on. I mean, yeah, we know he can do the leg press 600 pounds and all that, but I think they're just running him to death. I mean, it's
I don't care. Yeah, like Mike said, I don't care if you pressing 600. I don't care if you pressing 1,000 pounds. You're still a damn quarterback. You're not supposed to be taking on 300-pound linemen and 250-pound running 4.2s in the 40s. There's no way. There's no way. I don't care. I don't care how strong you are. You're still a quarterback for a reason.
Right. I mean, that's like Kyle Shanahan running Deebo Samuels. I'm like, come on, man. He shouldn't be running up the middle. Have him do sweeps and some trick plays and stuff like that. But you can't run that guy like he's a running back, and he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
I go on the websites and see it, and everyone's just like, this dude's got to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Let Debo go back to his natural position. That's what you got CMC for, because he is a running back. He's built for it. Elijah Mitchell's running back. So, run your running backs, and stop using your quarterbacks and special, and other skill players trying to do a job of someone else that they're not built for.
Exactly.
Hold up. CMC is built for a running back? All right. What remains to be seen?
Look, I know he's been hurt, but that's his job. I mean, so far he's done well. So we'll see. I mean, that's what they got him for in the playoffs. But yeah, he's a running back. I mean, he can catch the ball. He's kind of like Brian Westbrook from back in the day, where he's not like a power runner, but he can do it all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Justin Fields is built for a running back. Come on, guys. Oh, wait a minute. He's a quarterback.
yeah, that guy. Oh my God, they've been running him to death, man.
Oh my God.
Now you know I should put him in hospice care.
Well, you know what? I mean, they're in a good position, because if you can't do anything with $100 million under the salary cap, then I would just, if I was Justin Fields, I would tell the Bears I'd like trading you. I mean, you got $100 million under the cap this year. You're in great position. If you don't give him some help, just trade me, man. Yeah, you said, they run him in the hole. It's like, Jesus, are you kidding?
Who wants to play for the Bears, man? Like, you want to play?
Right.
Think about it, right?
Right.
You get an offer from Philadelphia or Chicago. Where are you going
Right
now? Or San Francisco? Or
But the Bears, I think, depending on how it worked out today, I forgot if someone has to lose. If they lose, then the Bears get the number 1 pick overall.
Oh, really? Over Houston?
Yeah, I think there was some deal. Yeah, because of the record. Yeah, I think so. I think someone has to lose today, and they'll get the number 1 pick. I forgot who it is, but they're. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. I guess probably build defense. I guess, or maybe they'll find I don't know if they want to get another quarterback, but they got a lot of chance to build up on that team. And this league, it don't take a whole lot to turn things around. So
yeah, all right, that's true. Yeah,
right.
Use your money wisely, Chicago.
That's right. All right, well, it's a good segue, Mike, that you brought up there. So let's talk about the games today that had playoff implications. We'll get into that. So we'll kind of just run through some quickly, and then we got another topic we'll talk about. So some predictions today, guys. Let's get right to it. Cardinals at 49ers. So, Mike, who you got?
I got 49ers. The Cardinals, I think, have 16 people that are out for the season. 8 of them are starters or something like that. So, I mean, even if they were going to try, they just don't have the talent, right now. I mean, Murray's out. I think even his backup is out. So I think they're starting their third-string quarterback. Yeah, I got San Francisco.
What happened to Arizona? I mean, this last year, or actually the season before that, they were coming up and look like they're going to be a high-power, team in your division, Mike, and they just went from riches to rags. That's what I want to say. I just don't. I ain't never seen a team just lose their identity. They can't figure out nothing. Murray looks like he don't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, to me, it's an obvious win, 49ers.
Okay.
They
I
never
don't feel
had
bad for the Cardinals.
They never had identity. They never had one. You know what I mean? They was just winning it on the fly. But they never had identity. I mean, when you're talking about what, like 16 starters, I mean, half of them just quit. And Cliff Kingsbury's his bag is packed. So come Monday, come Monday, come tomorrow, he's gone. So. Yeah, definitely San Fran. I mean, they don't even have to, they don't even have to just play full blown, because they quit. Arizona quit. That whole team quit. When I heard DeAndre Hopkins talking about, I had a sprained knee, and that popped up last week, like on Thursday. He quit. So
that means he only played like 4 games then, because he was suspended for like 6, right?
Right. Yeah.
6 or
pretty
7.
much. Yeah. And then when he seen that this wasn't going anywhere, he just like, well, you know what? And let me slow it down. Let me take care of myself. They quit. San Fran should win this. They shouldn't even have to be, put a whole bunch of energy in this game, because there's no need to.
How about you, Sal?
I got the 49ers. Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Cardinals have anything. I think the 49ers will get this one, get their starters out pretty quickly today, and get ready for next week, man.
So
Yeah, I
and,
think that's the plan.
and since we're talking about the 49ers, is this the team? I mean, because there's 3 Eagles fans here, 1 49ers fan here. Is this the team that we're gonna play for the NFC Championship?
Look,
Of course, Mike's gonna say yes.
yeah,
But-
look,
Yeah,
no, but
I'm gonna stick
he
with
may
that.
not put
I have
Philly
to.
in the NFC Championship. You know who knows?
No, I still put Philly in there because if you get the number 1 seed today, which I think is like 99.9% what's going to happen.
No, 100.
Yeah, it should be 100, but nothing 100, right? But yeah, look, we had number 1 seed. You only got to win 1 game again, the championship game. So the path to get to the championship is so much easier for the Eagles. And look, if you're gonna host looking like with the number either Dallas or I think Tampa Bay is who you guys would play for the first game if you get the number 1 seed. So
That's who I'm.
both of them.
The GOAT, man. The GOAT. I mean, Tampa. I don't know if I want to see him, honestly.
Hey, Tampa Bay could be the next New York Giants. Remember the Giants came back and nobody thought when the Giants won with Eli Manning. So yeah, it could be that one. But like you said, as far as with Philly, yeah, Philly's 1 game away from the NFC Championship. But my thing is, and I'm concerned about it, is that damn play calling. It's the play calling. It's that play calling. Spotlight's on. You know what I mean? The lights are on, guys. So I mean, these coaches need to figure this thing out, or somebody needs to step up and say, "Hey, we need to control the ball." All right. I know we got 2 bona fide, receivers, but yeah. So
I'm gonna say you never know with NFC East games today, and this isn't gonna be popular with you guys, but I say the Eagles lose today, guys. I don't see them doing it.
You know what, man?
No way.
Ooh.
No way.
let me tell you something.
Sal.
Philly get blown off the map if they lose this game because look, number 1, Sal, New York is going to sit the majority of their starters. They already clinched.
Doesn't matter. When you got guys playing for their jobs, they got nothing to lose. Those are the most dangerous.
All right.
Yeah, but you got those.
And they drop to the 5th seed. They lose the first round of playoffs, and Howie gets fired.
You know what? You're gonna have some hated. You're gonna have some hated viewers, Sal. And
All right.
we're trying
Look,
to.
I hope I'm wrong.
We get this chat thing going up next week, man. They're gonna be like, Sal, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, what are you?
I mean,
This is all but guaranteed today, man. Now after the bye week, I don't know. You know what I mean? But come on.
Don't text Howie's fault today.
Anything can happen with Eagles Giants. It's been that way since I've watched the Eagles. So anything can happen.
Okay.
I hate to say it, so I have to hope you're right, Sal, because then that being the San Francisco wins, they get number 1 seed. I would like to see them get that.
Mike,
But
Mike.
but realistically, look, I'm expecting that the Eagles are going to win, and San Francisco's the number 2 seed. I mean that's
Well, if
that would be a miracle.
You're right. If that happens, Sal, if that happens today, I'm not watching the Eagles game next week. I'm done with it.
Okay.
There's no way.
Okay.
And I'm saying it right there.
Okay.
If they lose this game, I'm not turning the game on next week.
Wow.
I'm not doing it.
Everybody hear that, right? Everybody
I
hear
promise
that.
you.
Sal,
I'm not like you to where you're a turngoat. It's like, I'm done with the Eagles. I'm done with the Eagles, and all of a sudden you sneaking to look at the game and looking at the stats and all. No, I'm not turning it on. I'm going somewhere.
I'm not done with the Eagles. Correct. I'm not done with the Eagles. I'm done with Howie. That's the difference.
So where did you put my autograph signed Howie poster that I gave you for Christmas?
In the trash can.
You know what? I tell you, man.
Burned it.
I tell you.
That's right.
Yeah. And the city will get burnt down today. I promise you. It will be. You think crime is high in Philadelphia now?
Damn, man. Damn.
They lose the Giants, boy. That man.
It's gonna be some shooting up in there.
riots and everything.
Yeah.
Just hey Sal, lock it down, baby, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that would be disastrous if they were to lose today. I mean, the ramifications from a football standpoint, because you lose the number one seed, and depending what Dallas does today
Yeah.
Oh
against
God.
Washington, you could actually lose the division
Yes.
and then become a wild card team
Yes.
and have to travel to Dallas. Oh my
Yeah,
God, that would be.
and Mike,
Listen to what.
and Mike, let me tell you
what
right
can
now.
happen, Sal.
If that happens, we are going to be the laughing stock of this season, and maybe even the history of NFL.
Yeah,
Because
you know what? Yeah, you're right. You're
Well,
right.
yeah, unless you go on a run and win, I mean, then it'd be like whatever. But yeah, no, it certainly would be pretty bad collapse if they were to, flame out in the end. But hey, that's not going to happen, man. That team's got too much talent, and the leadership on that team, they'll be fine.
I'm calling out of work if it happens because I get clowned. I swear I get clowned. I roll up onto the campus. And they probably got Eagles, you know what I mean? Something, and then they'd hack my computer in my office. I'll just call
hey, I feel you, man, because real fast, I remember in 2005 when we lost that to New England, I come to work and there was an empty, like clear plastic just sitting on my desk and it says, "That's your championship." I was like, wow.
a cup.
Yeah, it was just empty because the Vince Lombardi trophy is supposed to be in there, and then somebody sent me a choking diagram, and I was like, okay, all right.
This is what you do when you choke.
Yeah.
Well, you never know, guys.
No, Sal. I don't believe we just took about 3 or 4 minutes on this segment talking about what if. Sal, it's not going to happen. Sal, stop. It's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen. If it happens, man,
Have you guys learned in the NFL, anybody can beat anybody on any week? And when you got teams that are desperate and are playing for their jobs and have nothing to lose, I'm not saying it could happen. You never know. That's all I'm saying. You never know. It may not. I hope I'm wrong, but
take that Eagles shirt. Oh, just take it off. Take it off.
All right, let's go. Cardinal or Lions at Dre's favorite quarterback and hospice care of the Packers. So who you got, Mike? Lions and Packers.
I got Lions. I think the Lions are gonna end this conversation about at the Packers comeback and that they're for real.
Yes.
They're gonna end this.
Please.
Okay. All right, Dre, who you got?
Well, that's when I just piggied off of him, man. Yeah, Green Bay ain't going nowhere. Stop with all that hope. Well, Jermaine said they're on life support. I gotta take them off of hospice, but I don't see them beating Detroit. I got Detroit.
Okay.
I don't think
all right.
Detroit was one of my dark horse teams and everything. You know what I mean? And then they kind of faltered in the middle of the season. So. But then I had Green Bay in the Super Bowl. Yes, I had Green Bay in the Super Bowl. But you know what? I'm going with the Packers. I'm going to Aaron Rodgers' experience. He knows about these games. He's been in these type of situations before. Not in the playoffs, but I'm just talking about, trying to get in with the players. He understands. He's a veteran versus a young team in Detroit. Detroit is going to be, like I said, like we said, Detroit's going to be someone to watch next year. So definitely I got the Packers. I got the Packers this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Packers are going to be too much for Lions. I like the Lions' future. I think they're going to have a great team, but I don't think it's this year quite yet. So, the Packers win this one. It's going to be close, but I think the Packers end up pulling it out.
Just remember, it's not the same Detroit team. It ain't the same Green Bay team. So
that's what I said. Detroit is young. They're not. I mean, I don't think they're ready. Now you get that experience today, and you roll with it next year. So that's the way
I'm going to say this:
Aaron Rodgers versus Jared Goff. I don't know. I don't. Who are you taking between Aaron Rodgers and Jared Goff? Who you taking?
Yeah, right. You're right. You'll say Aaron Rodgers. I get it, but I just don't. The way the season's been going for him, I just don't see it. If it was Tom Brady in a Green Bay suit, I'm gonna say Green Bay. I got the GOAT over Aaron Rodgers. I mean,
I'm talking about Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers.
I got you.
Yeah, the chemistry. I mean, they're starting to Green Bay's starting to get healthy. I mean, I know Christian Watson is in and out and all that stuff, but they got Dobbs back. I mean, they got the receiver core is starting to build a chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. So
yeah.
So that's the way I see it.
I think the thing with Green Bay for me though is that they had like the game last week that they won in what was it, Minnesota? I think it was. They got touchdowns from their defense and from their special teams, which normally they don't. You know, their offense still doesn't exactly seem fixed to me. Aaron Rodgers,
he didn't do nothing.
It is Rodgers, but yeah, I don't know if they arrived yet. I think when they play a solid team, they're gonna be in trouble. Detroit actually can score, organically, like their quarterbacks, the running backs, receivers. So the only concern I have for Detroit tonight is just, what happens when the Sea Chickens beat the Rams, because if that happens, then Detroit has no hopes of getting in the playoffs. All they do is basically keeping Green Bay out of the playoffs by trying to beat them. And they may or may not try their hardest because they know they're not going nowhere. It really just depends on what Dan Campbell gets his team fired up to do. And it's like, look, if you can get them to play hard, no matter what happens, then yeah, there's a good chance the Lions could beat them. But if they kind of be like, well, ain't nothing to play for, then yeah, Green Bay could definitely beat them.
Yeah, and you're right. Aaron Rodgers wasn't his arm last week at all. He barely broke 200 yards. So we're saying Aaron Rodgers today. I don't know.
All right, a couple more here. We got two more. Dre's Jets at the Dolphins. Tua should be sitting down. Maybe no. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah.
Jets,
Tua
Dolphins?
and Bridgewater.
And
I think are out.
Bridgewater.
They got Skylar Thompson as the starting quarterback. This is a weird game, man.
Yes,
I mean, the Dolphins are at home, and so it looks like they should win. I'm gonna pick the Dolphins. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, they got too much talent. I'll pick the Dolphins.
Yeah, Jets, whatever. I don't know what happened there, but Miami, I don't know, man. They down to their third string quarterback, right? So, you know what? I'm just going. Yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with the Jets.
All right, Jermaine.
Yeah, I got. I think Miami. I mean, Skylar Thompson is not like he's thrown into the wolves. I mean, he's got some experience because he played a little bit this year. So then obviously you got Waddle and Hill. You got that offense. I think they're gonna come out firing. I got the Dolphins.
And I'm sorry, Sal, real fast. And the Jets' defense is actually pretty decent. It's not that bad. And
no, it's not. No, they really came on. You're right.
So
they really came on as the season went on.
That's why I'm going with them against a third string quarterback.
I mean, the score could be like 10-6. I don't know. It's gonna be a lot of offense.
It's a tough one. I do think I agree with Mike. I think the Dolphins got too much talent, though. I think they will overcome. I do think it's going to be close, like a 10-6 game. Yeah, I agree with that. But
so I'm the lone wolf, right? Okay.
Well, I believe if the Dolphins win, they are in. Or I think they need to win, and then the Patriots need to lose, and then they're definitely in. I think the Patriots win. They get in no matter what happens with the Jets game or with the other game that can impact the Steelers game.
Okay. We got Ravens at Bengals. So Mike, who you got that one?
I got the Bengals.
Okay.
Yep, I got the Bengals. Yeah, I got the Bengals.
Yeah, there's really nothing to be said about that. Yeah, the Bengals are going to win that. So.
Enough said. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement there. Yeah, the Bengals, unless something crazy happens there. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I got any other one game real quick. Buffalo and New England, because that is has implications for the playoffs. If New England loses, that opens the door for Miami, and then if Miami loses, that opens the door for Pittsburgh of all teams.
Wow!
What?
Wow!
Yes, Pittsburgh can make the playoffs.
Wow!
Pittsburgh beats the Browns, the Jets beat the Dolphins, and the Bills beat New England. Pittsburgh gets in as the number 7 seed.
Wow! Wow! Mike Tomlin. He's still.
I think. Remember, we said in the beginning of the season. I mean, beginning of our podcast season. I said you can't count Mike Tomlin out, man. If he gets them in the playoffs,
that's what I'm saying,
man. That's just amazing. I didn't even know they was even in the picture, Mike. Wow.
Yes, they are in the picture.
Wow.
Oh boy. Oh
So,
boy.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how much they rest their starters, right? Is Buffalo going to rest their guys, or I
Whew.
think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
it's I think Buffalo has something to play for. It's such a mess now because of what happened
Right.
with
Yup.
the
Right.
game with this
Right.
whole deal about um, who gets the number 2 seed, number 3 seed, and then in the playoffs if the Bills meet with the Chiefs or something. I don't know. There's a deal now with a coin flip of a home field advantage because of
Yup.
everything that kind of went
Yeah.
crazy
Yup.
with this with
Yeah.
the
With Hamlin.
with Hamlin and
Yeah.
with with the game being canceled. So I think Buffalo's got something to play for, so I think they'll go out and win. I'm calling Buffalo.
And Mike, to say that for mentally spirits and what Hamlin is recovering very well. I think Buffalo now can say, you know what, we gonna win this game. We feel confident. Our mental state's there. There's Hamlin is much better. So I think there's a
Right.
sigh of relief, and then these guys can really say, okay, let's get this win. Let's go. And they don't have to worry about Hamlin because he's doing much better.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah, totally.
Jermaine,
Yeah,
who you
I
got?
agree. What was it? Buffalo and what was his
New
name
England.
again?
New
I'm
England.
still trying to wake up. Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah, I mean, I think and then yeah, I'm gonna go with Buffalo because like you said, Mike. I mean, are they going to what? You said they do have something to play for
Yes.
because
they definitely
Kansas
want to
City's
win.
got the number 1 seed locked up.
Correct.
So
But I think it still has some impact on what happens in the playoffs with how they finish up. Where
with
I
the
think,
coin flip. Okay, I got you.
yeah, with
The
the coin
coin
flip,
flip.
and
The
I
coin
think
flip
Yep.
and stuff. Okay.
Coin
Buffalo
flip.
needs
All right.
to have a better record than Cincinnati or something like
Right.
that. So I think they have the
Okay.
incentive to win the game.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I got Buffalo. Yeah.
But New England has some, they win their end, so they're
Yeah.
going to play hard too.
Oh, so
I
they
think it's
control
gonna be a
their
good
own
game.
destiny. New England.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
in
gonna
New
be a
England.
tough game. Yeah.
It's in New England.
Oh boy. That's a good question. I think it's in Buffalo.
Oh, is it? Okay. I still have Buffalo. I still have them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have them. So
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think New England's going to pull this out. I think they got more to play for. Not that Buffalo doesn't. I think it's still hard to regain your focus, even though he's okay. I still think
really,
it's going to be
yeah,
tough for them to regroup.
yeah.
Maybe they do, but I think it's tough. But yeah, I think New England's they're going to be focused. They're going to come out and play, and I think they might pull this one out.
It's going to be tough because Buffalo is at home.
Oh, Buffalo is at home. Okay.
So we'll
that
see,
is tough.
Sal.
Well,
We'll see,
technically,
Sal.
you're right up the street, so it's really not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
really no big home field advantage. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're snowed regardless up there, I mean,
Yeah.
so. All right. So, again, Mike's full of segues today. So we want to talk about Hamlin for a couple minutes, guys. So, obviously it was a scary situation, 9 minutes of CPR or whatever, it was. And, there is a concern, and thank God there wasn't any type of permanent, brain damage or anything like that, not having, a heartbeat and being resuscitated for that long. But, in the end, you couldn't have asked for a better outcome. Thank God.
Yes,
he has the best
indeed.
staff on the
Yes.
field. And you got to give credit to the medical team. I
Yeah.
mean, that the NFL did. I mean, and everybody. I think, it was just nice to see because with everything going on today, you don't see people come together like they did like that. I think that was just a great thing to see. That no matter what team you're on or what side you're on, everybody came together for one time and just really said, hey, we want to make sure this guy's okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think, guys? Is this, first of all, thoughts, and then second of all, is this an issue with all of a sudden all these trips, whether it's, neck injuries going to the hospital, like we found out, whether concussions, whether, now cardiac arrest, like what, is this a problem with the NFL? What's going on?
I'll start real fast, and I won't be long. But I'm going to say we know how dangerous this game is. Okay, we have players, seriously hurt or even death. But not on the field in that sense of way. Like we had the off-season training from the heat stroke from the Minnesota player, and that brought in some serious things about how the NFL's got to really take care of their players. But that was such a freakish hit, and the way Hamlin took that, and then it was scary. Of course it was. But what I'm going to say is the media, like the sports analysis and media, like with Skip Bayless and all that and stuff like that, and people took it wrong what he was trying to say. Even T.O. got involved and was all mad about how can you say something like that, like about the game got to keep going on. I just feel that sometimes the media just makes it ugly in a situation like this is serious. This is a man's life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Jermaine.
Oh no, I was just saying it puts a lot of things in perspective as far as the game. The game, we all knew the game is a violent sport, and anything can happen. That's why with the play of the game, each play something can happen, and what that happened with with Hamlin and all that stuff, it's just like wow, and you kept seeing it, and they kept showing it and all that stuff, and it's like, are you kidding me? But like you said, it's a violent sport. It's not just NFL. It goes all the way down to how, even with my son, is playing, and now I have to think, and then, I got people influencing me to think about that. You gotta think about that and everything, because life is too short. I mean, you just gotta.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do. Like you said, Sal, NFL's going to, I don't know, because we talked about the pads and all that stuff. And Mike, maybe as far as with the pads and all that stuff and where the helmet hit, what kind of padding is there? You know what I mean? To protect that area,
Yeah.
Because, I played, I played high school. There was no padding. There was padding there, but it was a piece of plastic. You know what I mean? So
leather helmets.
There was no protective. Yeah, it's not like it was no protective thing right there. So I don't know what's there. I don't know. How everything is, Mike. I mean, if you could put some, because every time that I look at that, I say, is there any kind of protective thing around there where he got hit? Because he got hit right around where his heart was at. So it's it's crazy.
I'm not sure on the padding. But I'll say this: look, the more you make the sport safer, the more you almost make it more unsafe. You get more padding, that just gives people incentive to hit harder. So it is a violent sport. The probabilities of things happening that you see, like Hamlin, look, there's been how many tackles made in the NFL in years, and you've never seen anything like that.
Right.
Stuff can happen. I mean, Kyler Murray didn't get touched and he blew his knee out.
Right.
What? It's just how it is. It may not happen to somebody else, but it happened to him. I mean, everybody's built different, and we have no idea on Hamlin if there's underlying conditions that possibly could have contributed to what happened. Does he have a weak heart or an inflamed heart or something? There's
true.
so many different variables to it. I do think the biggest impact that this is going to have, and it's already been having before this, is that people are not playing football at a younger age. They really are starting to move away from the sport, and it is a concern. Parents are saying, look, you can't play. The CTE thing really opened the door to it because people saw that life after football could be kind of crappy. You don't want to play something and then you stop playing, and then all of a sudden you can't think for yourself or take care of yourself because your brain's all scrambled. That's a crappy life. So this is just kind of another one of those things where someone's going to say to their kids, like, look, you're not playing. That guy almost died on the field the other day. You're not playing. You got high school teams that can't even field a team because they don't have enough people interested in the sport. So I think that's going to be the longer run ramifications of this is, you're gonna get more people trying to stay away from playing football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the game's got to continue to grow. And we talked about this too, the speed of the game, the strength of the players, all that has picked up so much.
Yep.
that it's just adding to it. It's different, and it's not just football like you guys mentioned. I mean, it's hockey too. The players are faster and bigger in hockey, so they're getting hit more. And they're getting hit quicker. You're
Yep.
just seeing it more and more in sports, and it's as we continue to grow, we just they're going to have to find ways to continue to make it safe without, like Mike said, taking away from the game and making it more dangerous. Because sometimes when you play not to get hurt, that's when you get hurt. I
Yeah.
mean, and he's right. RG3, you can go back to him with his knee. Carson Wentz, same thing. He wasn't touched. So there's been players who haven't gotten hit who have gone down, pretty easily. So yeah, and we'll see what happens here in the future. I think there'll definitely be more talks about it,
Yeah.
coming up in the winter meetings for sure, to kind of see what can be done.
And reality hit that night because, like you said, Mike, oh, you're not playing no more. Well, hold on. When you didn't see that, you never had that in your mind to saying that my child's not going to play. It's there. It's just when reality hits, you got to remember, like, hey,
Yep.
this can seriously happen. And even in, like, I'll talk about Formula One real quick. They know.
Absolutely. I was thinking the same thing.
They know what they're getting into, and there has been last season or whatever in Formula 3, a driver died. They didn't even stop the race. They stopped it, but then they continued on. And then those mindsets of those drivers during that, knowing that the guy died, or some of them they don't even tell them until after they finish driving. It takes a lot of mental on you. So it's a high risk, when they get into that and they know that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that's why they pay the big bucks, right? Because they are sacrificing their bodies, right? I mean, they really are. A lot of these guys can't walk after they put. Look at Junior Seau, right? I mean, he's another one that Mike was talking about when there's a permanent injury, right? So, it's sad sometimes. So, the NFL, I think that's one of the biggest things I want to see too, is not only taking care of the players when they play football, but afterwards.
Yeah,
I think that's
absolutely.
an important piece. So, I think that's got to be something that's in play.
You're right, but
Yeah,
the
Jimmy.
bottom line is, thank God Hamlin, they took the tube out. He's breathing on his own.
Absolutely, yes.
He's having FaceTime with the team and all that stuff and whatnot. So that brings a lot of joy to the Buffalo, because I know they was just distraught. You could look at all of them, both Bengals and Buffalo were just distraught, over this whole thing. And then the whole world is watching and everything. So it's just, it brings happy to me personally. I know it brings happiness to all of y'all that a young man like this, and just reading his, his story of his little brother actually saw that happen. You know what I mean? On TV and whatnot. And he went into a frantic. And I'm just glad, that young man, has life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And he can move on, and the recovery look like it's going to be 100%. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's 100%.
That's 100. You got that right. I mean, before when he first woke up and he couldn't talk, he wrote down on the paper. He said, "Who won the game?" I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
Well, again, another perfect segue. Talk about miracles. So, Mike, you got a game. I believe in miracles. Let's do it. What do you got, Mike?
Yep. That was right on time. Yeah. So I got a game. Real quick. I believe in miracles. Like I was saying, I got a couple of different scenarios that you can rate as either a biblical type of miracle, turning water into wine, a burning bush talking kind of miracle, to the lowest, which is like a number one ranking, which is like, you wouldn't be surprised. It's not that big of a deal. 3 is kind of in between. So the first miracle I have is that the Lions actually make it into the playoff, and they actually win a playoff game, ending a 34-year playoff win drought. They have not won a playoff game in 34 years.
Man. That's right. Rodney Peete and the Eagles beat them back in that day. I forgot about that game. I was at that game. I think we're talking burning bush here. I just like saying that too, but yeah.
Can I split it? Can I split it? I mean, burning bush.
Sure.
Yeah, burning bush, and they got a chance to make the playoffs, but they're not going to win. So yeah, half of a burning bush. You know what I mean? It's like that like that Cheech and Chong up in smoke. You know what I mean? How their whole car was just lit up in smoke and all that stuff. So yeah, just half of it.
Wow, half a burning bush. Okay. Yeah.
Is that a verb or a noun? It's a noun.
What, burning or bush?
No, burning's an adjective. No.
Don't get started, man. I have a BS degree. That's what I got a BS degree. So.
Trey, what do you got? Sorry.
I'm going through all my biblical stuff in my head, and I would say burning bush is the best one for that one. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you, Sal.
Man, he went biblical. We was going somewhere else.
Oh, my bad.
This guy, he wanted to clean it up. He like, yeah, I'll go with biblical. And,
well, I heard Mike say biblical, so.
Oh, he did? Oh, all right. I didn't.
They turn water into wine. That's definitely.
Yeah, okay. That burning. Yeah, okay.
He's talking Moses here, parting the Red Sea. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for
Lazarus from the dead.
Let's see who's gonna fit that one.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's coming next.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Mike.
I guess real quick, the Lions I got as close to like a number 4. I would say close to turning water into wine, and it's only because if they get in the playoffs, they're gonna have to play San Francisco at home, and they're not gonna win that. So,
all right.
Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, who we both put in hospice care, end up playing against each other in an NFC Championship game.
You guys gonna laugh at me, but the one I got in my head is when that city was on fire and the woman turned around and turned to stone. She wasn't supposed to look back.
To the pillar of salt.
The pillar of salt.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. That's exactly what Green Bay is, man. That's what it is. That's enough said. That's it. How about you guys?
If we're staying biblical, I'm gonna do Adam and Eve. You know what I mean? When they was out in the thing, they're both naked. You know what I mean? And Aaron Rodgers is Adam and Tom Brady is Eve. And yeah, you look at it. So yeah, that's the way.
Hold on. Wait. So wait, who handed the apple to?
I forgot who. Oh, Eve handed the apple to Adam. So what did I have?
You got Tom Brady as Eve. That's what you said.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So Adam. Sunday school. So Aaron Rodgers bit the apple.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
And God came down. Where are you two?
Yeah, what are you two doing?
We're naked.
We're naked. Then why? Who told you were naked?
And then that's
the way I see it.
And then pain and shamefulness, and that's how I see Aaron Rodgers: pain and shamefulness, being ashamed because they got to put your clothes on now because you're not.
Yeah, that's why we're wearing clothes. You know what I mean?
So wait a minute. If you think about this more, then that means that Eve, Tom Brady, wanted the tree of knowledge. Then.
Huh? Because he's the GOAT, you know what I mean? So yeah, so he got the knowledge, So, but that's my analogy.
All right.
Sorry, Mike.
I have a different biblical outcome here. I think it's like Moses and the Pharaoh. Like Moses kept, trying to tell Pharaoh, "Let my people go." I think we need to tell Tom Brady, let him go. It's the same thing, it's going back and forth here. Same thing with, Aaron Rodgers. They both have had their time, but no matter what happens, they keep coming back, and they want to keep playing. And we're going to need fire on the field like we had, or a burning bush to keep them from playing. So this is going to be like,
Yeah.
Those guys, never count them out, though.
I would say it's a biblical type of miracle, but it definitely would be quite amazing if both of those guys with the season they've had and their teams have had both be in the championship game. But the way the seeding is lined up, yes, they have to get through San Francisco and Philly. They could actually play each other in the championship game. So let's go on to the next one. I know you guys are going to like this one. You're going to like the next two, actually. I'll do this first one. Andy Reid, who typically doesn't win, gets his second Super Bowl ring this year.
Jesus. You got
Oh no, you can pass. Yeah, you know what my answer is, Mike. I mean, come on. It's it's not going to happen. It's not.
You think it's a
I
big? You
agree.
think it's biblical that if he gets it? I think it's more of a 3. I think it's in the middle. I mean, it'd be a kind of amazing thing, but I don't think it's burning bush level. Like basically not going to happen.
No, it's going to be Andy Reid. If Andy Reid wins, that means he's on what's that diet stuff? What is that called? Slim Fast.
What?
Oh,
Slim
man.
Fast.
He's bringing out the
Yeah, he's
personal
going to be on
stuff,
Slim Fast,
man.
and yeah,
taking it
that's
personal.
that's
Yeah.
my analogy right there. Yeah, Slim Fast.
Wow.
Sal, what you
That's
got?
something.
What you got, Sal?
But look, you know how I feel about Big Red. I'm not going to say the man's,
You
tough
got him
or
fired
anything.
this year. You got him fired if he doesn't make it. You got Howie fired, and you got Andy fired, Sal.
Well, here's Andy's problem. He always finds a way to screw something up in the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. Yeah.
and if he does do it this year, more power to him. I agree with Mike. I think it's half and half. But just because of the talent might defy Andy Reid's incompetence. But besides that, you can't go wrong with Mahomes. Is it enough to overcome Andy? I think that's where it gets to the middle of the road there in a toss-up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why I threw it on there.
I think 3. Like you said 3, right?
Yeah.
I see that too because I've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks. Ever since Patrick Mahomes did that no look pass, which is supposed to be NBA. This is NFL.
Right.
They're going to the Super Bowl and they're going to play us in the Super Bowl, the Eagles. They're going to lose, so Andy Reid is going to lose. But this team just don't die, man. This team just kind of always finds a way to win with this Patrick Mahomes backyard, Brett Favre-ish stuff.
But that's what they did. That's what they did last year, Dre, and they died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they played the Bengals. So I'm not putting a whole bunch of emphasis into this and whatnot, but yeah, they're not going that far. I believe that truly in my heart, they're not going that far.
All right.
They're gonna find a way to blow this game.
All right, I got a good one. This one's a 2-part. One part's kind of being silly, but look, Doug Peterson leads his Jags to the Super Bowl and wins over his former employer, the Eagles,
Howie.
prompting Sal to get arrested for throwing goat's blood on Howie.
I got 2 things here. First, I'm thinking about Noah's Ark. And then he got all these players in this boat, which are the animals, but whatever. And he's supposed to be leading because the world got destroyed. Because that's what we thought, the Jaguars were just not gonna. So he packed all in the boat because he knew that it was gonna, and saved them. And he did. He saved the Jaguars. I mean, he saved them.
They're in the playoffs, right? Because they won last.
Yes.
Did they win last night?
Yes, they won last night. They're in.
Yeah.
They are in.
Called that, Mike, in the beginning of the season. You called
Yeah.
that. I mean, look at that, man. That's crazy.
They're hosting a home game too. They host a play because they won the division.
Holy cow! Wow.
And then the other part is that he's Moses leading the people to the promised land. So,
Jesus.
wow,
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
David and Goliath. Jackson.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Kansas City. David and Goliath, man.
David and Goliath.
It'd be a miracle. It'd be a big time miracle if they get to the. I'm sorry. I think that's the number 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And somehow when even just getting Super Bowl, even if they don't play the Eagles, but I mean, God, man, if they were to play the Eagles and win, I know Sal, you would be calling Howie because they fired Peterson and all that stuff. I know you would have a fit.
I guess my analogy is that Sal is like the devil wears Prada. How about that?
Wow.
I said to Dre last week, why did I go back to watching this team? Because it just
Sal, stop. Sal, you wasn't going nowhere in the first place, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. You wasn't going anywhere.
The first couple of weeks, and then Mike started his, magical season. You're gonna miss a magical season, and then I started watching, and it was just a mistake,
Oh my! Come on, man. Stop. You're a 4-for-4 guy, and that's true, man. You're a 4-for-4 guy. You're not giving up on your teams, man. For real. You're not.
Real quick, I'll throw out 2 more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do 2 more and then we'll get ready to wrap up.
All
So
right.
I had to put this one on here. Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl and becomes the first rookie quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl.
Samson.
Oh, that's a good one,
Samson.
Dre. Yeah.
That's all I can see because if Brock Purdy get his hair cut off, that's it. You know, he ain't doing it. He lost all his strength. That's how I look at it. Mr. Relevant. Samson. That's a good one, Mike.
Yeah. I think it's the 3. Just because of everything that's around him, I think it's very possible they could win the Super Bowl with him. I mean, counting on it, but realistically, when you got a good defense and can run the ball, you got a shot. Then, if he was on the Browns, and I'd be like, oh yeah, they don't have a chance. But yeah, I mean, with the team they got around him, I think it's very possible that he could break a record or make a record.
Which 49ers defense is going to show up? The good one or the 500-yard one?
Yeah, that's true. You got film.
Yeah.
You got film on that defense now. Okay, everybody, just like you said, Sal, we got holes and all that stuff. Every team, even the 49ers, when you thought they was invincible for 4 or 5 weeks straight.
Yeah.
There's a hole. There's a hole somewhere, Mike.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's in the secondary. I know exactly where it is. It just has to just play smart, when they don't play smart and miss assignments, then bad things happen. But I think the averages they'll be fine. And Brock Purdy, and the biggest thing about that game was that Brock Purdy had to play to help them get from behind because they were always losing, and they did. And when they had a 2-minute drive, I mean, he did fine. They got down the field, had a chance to win with that field goal, and Dummy missed the kick. But yeah, I mean, they got offense for a change. So when the defense is not playing well, the offense actually can score some points. And, that didn't happen with Jimmy G. That was my gripe last year. But I'll move on to the last one.
All right.
We talked about this one, but the Steelers get into the playoffs, and they continue Mike Tomlin's 15-year non-losing streak. That is the miracle that they get into the playoffs.
Talking the resurrection, because that's what he's going to need.
Yeah, hey, you know what? That's the bottom one. I like that one, man. The Messiah and Mike Tomlin.
Turn the stone and he's not in there. What?
Yeah, I like that one.
I like that one too, man.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
I think it's a 3, in terms of rating of a miracle, because we've actually seen this before. I think it was last year or the year before where everything worked. It was last year where everything worked out for Pittsburgh to get into the playoffs.
Right.
And you're like, the Colts losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year opened the door. And here we go again. Yeah. Pittsburgh, all they got to do is win. And then the Jets and New England have to fall, or Dolphins and New England got to fall. And it's possible. And then here we are again, Pittsburgh back in the playoffs somehow.
And didn't they win the Super Bowl as the 6th seed one time?
Yep.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Them and the Ravens, I think, have done it where they've been 3 away games to win the Super Bowl.
Giants did too. Did too.
Damn, they got to win 4. It's like 4 straight. Whew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
15 years and not have a losing season. I mean, that's wild,
amazing.
Man.
That's amazing. And nobody talking about Pittsburgh.
No, nobody never talk about Pittsburgh. But at the same time, we don't count Mike Tomlin out. Don't count him out.
That's true.
Man, talk about the GOAT
I
of
talked
coaching.
about Pittsburgh.
You did, Sal?
I Pickett was going to throw the most interceptions.
Pickett.
Yeah, you did.
You did.
For a minute there, he was.
He was.
He was.
Yeah, he was.
He got a lot better.
Him and Stafford, Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, that's a whole nother story. The Rams are a mess.
Man, that's just now.
No, you know what the Rams are? I'm gonna use a Greek mythology, Medusa. They curse because you remember Medusa was this beautiful woman. She got cursed, and then if you look at her, you just turn to stone. It's just
Sal, real fast. You see how the Rams is folded this year because they put all their cookies and all that stuff in last year and won the Super Bowl. Do you compare the Rams to what's going on with the Eagles? What franchise would you rather? Yeah, what franchise would you rather take? Would you take the Rams or would you take the Eagles in the position that they're? Because it's pretty much almost similar to what Philly did. What Philly did this year to what the Rams did last year.
Is it without Howie as the GM?
Wow.
It's got a personal vendetta.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's personal.
I'm done now.
Like, I got one. Can I throw one out here?
Blinded with rage. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, real quick here. Carson Wentz actually plays for an NFL team next year.
Oh man, jeez.
Carson Wentz. Oh God.
It's the end of the world. You know.
Carson Wentz.
They're not even activating him this week. They're not even activating him. He's third string. He's not even. So will he even find a team next year? What are the?
No.
Are we talking biblical here, guys? So.
Talking biblical.
If he does find a team, like I said, the world comes to an end. That's all.
Well, he'll be a backup. I mean, he could probably be a capable backup somewhere. But yeah, his days as a starter for sure are over.
He can't even be a backup, Mike. He can't. I mean, what he's proven and all that stuff. No,
right.
The only thing is somebody's got to be real desperate next year if one of their quarterbacks get hurt, and then he's like, "Well, let's get Carson Wentz." That's the only chance he has to get back in the NFL. I don't think it's a backup. I really don't. He can't be. He's not a sideline coach. I just Me and Dre was talking about this. Where did it all fall apart? Where did it fall apart with him? It's just crazy. Yeah. That whole story is crazy. Huh?
They don't want to play for him. You saw it with the Eagles.
I know.
Yeah, but after the 2017 Super Bowl, it was. I don't know, man. To me, I got the feeling like it was behind the scene locker room, and players lost respect for him as a leader, as a quarterback leader after that 2017 Super Bowl. And yeah, I mean, what I'm saying, it was Nick Foles, but I'm just talking about how he was getting the starting job in 2018, and it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, it just went downhill.
I don't know. I mean, when he played for the Colts up until the last game of the season, he was productive. Well, he had more touchdowns and turnovers. I think he had the least amount of interceptions out of I don't know how many quarterbacks. So he can be productive. I just don't think he's the starting leader of the team. But
exactly,
he could be a backup, come in relief. Maybe when there's no pressure on him, maybe he'll play better. Maybe it's just the pressure of having to be the starter. Who knows? But I don't think he's totally washed up. He's got too many physical skills. I think that he can play in the NFL, but his days as a starter are done. I don't think there's any more big contracts for him. I think this was his last shot at that. I think his shot with Washington was not a good shot because I think that wasn't really the right fit for him. But I don't think he's totally washed up. But yeah, he's definitely not gonna be a starter.
Don't tell Hef that. Don't tell Tony that.
Well, listen, Hef and Tony and Jermaine talked about last night, man. Riviera's getting fired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's getting fired. Yeah, he is. He's getting fired.
He's not.
How you got a coach you don't even know that you're gonna be?
Don't even know what's going on
in the playoffs. I mean,
won't get fired.
I can't. And he's gonna get fired. I think he is.
Nope. I'll bet money he won't be fired.
He won't be fired, huh?
Well,
it's too much impact to the organization. It's too much impact to the organization because he's the GM and he's the coach. So if you fire him, you're firing two positions.
Oh, there you go. So hold on.
Wait a minute.
Go ahead, Jermaine. Go ahead.
He's the I didn't know he was the GM. So he's the one that was in charge of bringing in Carson Wentz. Huh.
Exactly.
So you're talking about somebody that's bringing in, lost draft picks and everything with that when you made that trade, and now it's a bust. No, I'm getting rid of his behind.
Exactly. I agree. I'm getting rid of him. And then Sal, that's who you should hate, not Howie, because he's not a coach and the GM. So that right there, man. I'm sorry, Mike. I disagree.
They're not gonna fire him.
I didn't know he was a GM.
What I think will happen is, one, they're gonna fire the offensive coordinator. They're already been talking about that. Apparently, a lot of players don't like him, so he's gone. So that's gonna change. I do think they're gonna try to take some of Ron's GM duties and try to get someone in the door to take those duties, so that Ron can focus on coaching and just taking care of the football side of things. I think him doing double duty, it's just too much that things just don't get done. It's like when you do too much, you don't do anything well, and I think that's his problem. So I think they're gonna get new ownership. I don't think they want too much turmoil just yet. So I think he's got one more year to try to have a great year, and then if it still is the same crap, even with changes, then he'll get fired. But I don't think he's get fired this year. Hef and Tony just going to deal with it. But he's not getting fired.
They can take Howie. I have one more, Mike, really quick in here. Then we got to wrap up.
Yeah.
I got one more really quick.
Yep.
Chances that Sal gets a date with Kay Adams.
Oh, man,
that's like a 6. That's beyond me. I mean,
that's like a 99.9. 0.999% of that. Let's do a percentage on that.
That's funny, Sal.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that's a serious miracle.
Serious miracle. Biblical.
God's Jesus got to come down to just literally pull K, and this look. This is what you gotta do.
I don't know, man. I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm thinking one of those apostles that was walking in the desert for like 50 years.
Yeah. I'm fine with Adam and Eve for that one, but that's beside the point.
We should go off the air. Sorry, we should go off the air.
I would Adam and Eve analogy.
Let's close. All right, let's close it off like that.
Good.
Until next time on the next episode.
Enough said.
Enough said. Enough
We
said.
should bring that towel.
Oh no! The chances that Mike gets a new towel. All right, enough.
Enough said there.
So, reach out to us at enoughsaidcrew@gmail.com if you have any comments, but please don't write about the last ones, okay? Anyway, thanks for listening to us as always, guys. It's been a pleasure as usual, and we will see you for some playoff talks. Hey, check us out this week, right? You want to tell Dre? Tell them about this Thursday real quick before we jump off.
Yeah,
so they got to know what we're doing.
This Thursday, we're gonna be with all dressed up. Good podcast that we were on a couple months ago, and we're going to be joining with Hef and KD. So stay tuned for that on Thursday. That will be live stream. So come on.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. So it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be since our last podcast with him. It's going to be a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah,
I know. Look at Mike moving. Mike moving his head. I know he has a lot to say.
Absolutely.
And we think it's going to be at 10 p.m., but keep an eye out. We'll let you guys know the times. But check us out. It's a great podcast, and we're looking forward to being on again. So, all right, everybody, we'll see you next time.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
All right. Yep. See you guys. Yep.
All right.